Welcome, everyone. I'm John Ryan of SportsMemo.com, and you are watching the NBA Triple Double Show for Wednesday, March the 9th, 2022. What a week this is. We have the Players' Championship, not to mention the Conference Basketball Championships, and with the big conferences starting up today. It's just a wonderful time of the year. Ronald Cabang, my usual co-host, had a previous commitment, could not be on the show today, but we are pleased to have KB on the show, Kevin Braudis of SportsMemo.com, so make sure you get over to sportsmemo.com and get his NBA subscriptions because he focuses on the pro sports. And as a focus, he does real well. Welcome to the show, Kevin. How are things going?
Hey, it's going good, John. Happy to be here. Happy to fill in for our boy Cabang. He told me he needed me to jump on the show, so here I am.
I appreciate you filling in for him. And you're a very worthy substitute player coming off the bench.
I like that.
So first game we're going to look at here is let's take a look at the Suns versus Heat. This is a 7:30 start Eastern Standard Time. Miami opened as a 7.5-point favorite, but I think there's been some news on this game that you're going to shed some light on. They are now down to -5. The Heat are 44-22 on the season and doing quite well. They're 23-7 at home. And against the spread at home, they're 17-13. The Suns are by far the best team in the NBA record-wise, and arguably any way you look at it, they are the best team in the NBA. 52-13 is their record straight up. They're 24-6 on the road, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Against the spread, they are 18-12 against the road. That translates to about 60% in my mind. Last 10, they're 7-3, but they've only covered 3 of those 10 games. Miami just keeps going, 8-2 over the last 10, 6-3-1 against the spread. What do you think about this matchup, and where would you lead us to a best bet possibility?
Yeah, this one's pretty exciting. This will definitely be a fun one to watch, John. So this one's difficult for me because there were some question marks that came out. Booker has missed the last 4 games, but he looks like he will be playing in this one. And on the other hand, some news just dropped about the Miami Heat. Butler, it looks like he's going to be a game-time decision. So if Butler doesn't play, it's all Suns for me in this one. Again, John brought up they're 24-6 on the road, guys. And also, if you look at dogs, they're plus 5 right now. And as dogs this season, they've only been dogs 7 times this year. They're 3-4. And just looking at it a little closer, like John mentioned, both teams are rolling right now. But if you're going to give me points with, in my opinion, the best team in the NBA, I'm going to take the Suns here. Nothing official, though. I got to see what happens with Jimmy Butler. But I'm guaranteed the Suns are glad to have Booker back. And for anybody that knows me, I'm focused a lot on player props. And when a player like Booker comes back, I tend to stay away from it because it can kind of mess up the rotations. And then believe it or not, the Suns actually do pretty good without Booker. And one more thing I wanted to bring up, John, the Suns are on a back-to-back tonight, and they're actually 7-3 on back-to-back, so that's 70%. So that's pretty interesting as well. But as far as official play, I don't have one in here, but I would lean to the Suns, and hopefully Butler gets ruled out if you're going to back the Suns. But I would back him now because the line has dropped.
Is there any chance with the line dropping down to pick 'em? And I'm just picking this out of my head. Like if Booker is playing and Butler is out, that's got to be worth 5 points in my mind. Could this line steam that much down to pick 'em, do you think?
No, I don't think it would steam that much because, like you know, Chris Paul is a huge asset to the Suns, so he is still out, so that's a big deal. And then also Cameron Johnson looks like he's going to be a game-time decision as well versus Miami, but I bet Booker and Johnson both play. But again, I think Butler does play. I just don't know why it was a late decision. I didn't find a lot of news on him, but I don't think it gets down to a pick 'em. I know that I made that kind of a long answer, but I don't think it will go that far. But I think we see +3, +2. I think it gets close.
Yeah, so if we like the Suns now, and any of the guys and gals out there like the Suns too, I think you're better off getting it now
And
than waiting towards game time.
JR, just for the record too, he looks like he has an illness right now, so it's not an injury, so that's good.
Okay,
Yep.
very good. Let's move on to the next game here on the card, and that's going to be. And I say this with all due respect to Ski Profit, who's a West Coast type of guy. Big shout out for him. Wager Talk, the NBA show, 4 o'clock every single day over there. That's a blast. And you get to see John Ryan's NBA angle that day with symphonic music in the background. It's just almost borderline terrible to listen to that music, but they like it, so I guess I can't argue. Anyway, the Lakers. Well, I don't know what to say about the Lakers. I mean, there's so many like synonyms in the thesaurus that you could use to describe the Lakers right now. 28 and 36 straight up. They're 9 and 20 on the road. KB 9 and 20.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Wow.
Yep.
So they find themselves as a 5.5 point road favorite, despite only winning 9 road games, against the Houston Rockets. And that's about the only team the Lakers would be favored on the road right now. And, I almost at the point now with the Lakers, I will never be on them. I'll look for opportunities to fade them. I would have never thought in a zillion years I would take the Rockets as a home dog against the Lakers at only 5.5. But I'm kind of leaning that way. So talk me off the cliff and prevent me from making a dumb bet.
Yeah, this one, like I said on the first clip, I like to focus in on player props sometimes. And this one's difficult for me because if you look at the Rockets, John, Christian Wood has an illness. He did miss shoot around. So he did sit out last game, and I bet he sits out again today since he didn't make shoot arounds. You got Tate, a game time decision. You got Matthews, a game time decision. So again, the Rockets are a little banged up as far as injuries and illnesses go. But I did want to key in on one, Jalen Green, the 20-year-old guys for the Houston Rockets. When Christian Wood goes off the floor, this guy balls out. If you just look at his last few games, 20 points, 24 points, 18, 27, 20. He's taken a lot of shots. So again, in shooting the ball extremely well. If you look at post All-Star break, shooting 47% from the field and then 34% from the three-point range. So again, he would be a guy I key in on. And if Christian Wood, if I get him out, I will definitely be hammering a Jalen Green points prop over the number. But as far as the side goes, definitely not touching the Lakers. I know we all joke about it, but again, they're sloppy. Their defense looks bad. I was listening to some of the post-game interviews, and the team's just all messed up right now.
Oh, it is. And it was kind of funny in my world yesterday. I had a guy send me a notification. I misread it, and he wanted me to comment about the Russell trade. And I thought Westbrook got moved. So I'm Googling it, and I'm thinking, like, are you sure this trade actually happened? And of course, it was Russell Wilson.
Yeah, did you see that?
He only said Russell.
Yeah, I get that. Westbrook had something interesting. His kid was – did you see that? In the interview, I guess his kid got brought up, and, like, he was, like, pretty upset and really mad about that his kid's name was getting brought up and how he was hurting the Westbrook legacy. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know if you saw that, JR.
I heard of it. I didn't see it, but it's sometimes I think the media should just leave well enough alone.
Yeah, I agree. But last thing I'll say on this game, the Lakers are 0-8 straight up, guys, in their last 8. So for them to be laying any kind of number here, I just find that hilarious. But they do well.
What happens if they lose tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be bad. I mean, very bad. They're 9 and 20 on the road. I mean, who knows? I'd fire up the Rockets, but if Christian Wood's out, that hurts this team majorly bad. So just be careful with this game is all I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's take a look at another game that might be a more worthy candidate, and that's the Denver Nuggets. They are a 4.5 point road favorite against the Sacramento Kings, who are having another practice season, if you will. No ability to contend for the NBA playoffs as of this edition of the Sacramento Kings. They're 15 and 19, however, at home, 16 and 18 against the spread in those home games. So they've been a pretty good losing record team against the spread. However, we have a Denver Nuggets team that is rising up the standings of the Western Conference, 39-26 straight up. They're 19 and 15 on the road, 17, 16 and 1 against the number. 9 and 1 straight up over the last 10, 6 and 4 against the number. The Kings, not surprisingly, 3 and 7 over the last 10, and an even 5 and 5. Where do you see the betting opportunity in this one?
Yeah, so this one, I really love this play. It's going to be Sabonis for the Kings, guys. He's played Denver three different times this year, two with the Kings and then one with his former team. Again, averaging 34 minutes versus the Nuggets in 3 games, sample size 22 points, 16.3 rebounds, and 4.7 assists, really shooting the ball well versus them. And if you look, Jokic is a monster, guys. He's been going off. I would consider him to maybe even pass up Embiid as far as getting his MVP title back-to-back seasons. But again, this spot screams Sabonis to me. If you look at the last 7 games versus the Nuggets, they're allowing tons of points to centers. On average, the last 7 games, 27.73 points, 16.5 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. So again, the centers are a way for teams to stay around versus this Nuggets team because they're very deep and they can do a lot of good stuff. But again, I think this is a Sabonis spot for me. And that's what I would take, his points over 18.5 today. He averages 18.6 on the year. So again, this isn't an average spot when they're allowing a lot of points to centers. It's just a great matchup. And the Kings got to be pissed off, John. I mean, they're blowing 18-point leads, 19-point leads, and they're just down bad. And I know Sabonis got ejected last game, and he can get in foul trouble, but I think he's going to be smart here. You got the backup center out for the Kings. Holmes is going to be out. So, again, I have Sabonis playing 37 minutes in this one, and that's a lot of time to be on the court and a lot of time for him to get points. So that would be my play over 18.5 here. John, what are you liking?
I like your pick with the player prop there for sure, and I also lean towards the over. A little betting angle here, 78% winners over the last 5 seasons. That's 38-10 on the over. Playing on a good team, which is win percentage between 60 and 75% on the season, which Denver is. That is coming off a home game as a favorite that they won but didn't cover. And now they're playing a losing record team that is between 25 and 40% win percentage. That's all there is to it. Three little factors. And it's generated 78% winners over the last 5 years without one single year being a loser.
Yeah, and I couldn't talk you off that, John. One more thing. They're both on 1 day's rest, and so I'm thankful for that because the Nuggets played it back-to-back. But both teams on 1 day's rest, both lean to the over. Denver 56.8% and then Sacramento 55%. So just to back you up a little bit.
Yeah, that backs up a lot. I mean, that's cool stuff, Kevin. Well, this brings us to the end of the show. Kevin, do you have anything going on at sportsmemo.com you want to tell everyone?
Yeah, so basically NBA has been rolling hot, John. I'm the #1 handicapper at SportsMemo right now, up 136 units, which is crazy to say, hitting 62.5%. And again, hit a 5% yesterday. So that was exciting to see. But me and Ronald Cabang, guys, the guy you see on this show all the time, we have a deal together. It's a BOGO. Buy one, get one. You buy my 30-day package, you get his 30-day package for free. So make sure you guys go check that out on Sports Memo. It's a hell of a deal. He was the #1 handicapper last year in NBA. So again, don't pass that up. We're both rolling right now and seeing the board really good.
Awesome stuff. And definitely, folks, take advantage of that. That's a no-brainer in my book.
Appreciate it, John.
So KB, thanks for providing your time in the absence of Ronald Cabang. And sometime we'll have to get both of you guys on this show. We'll call it the triple, because that would be pretty cool to do breakdowns. And then you add the player props. That would cover just about anything and everything these NBA fans and sports bettors want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tremendous.
Yeah, I love that idea. And I feel like covering across the board kind of, you don't really know what people are looking for. But when you find a tight game, if you can't find an angle on the spread, you can usually find a player prop, things like that,
Yep, I agree.
Thanks for having me on, John. Appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. So on behalf of KB, myself, sportsmemo.com, we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Triple-Double Show for the NBA. Until then, remember 2 things. Bet with your head and never over it, and may all the wins be yours.